This lab is about configuring a central authentication server along with an LDAP directory so that we can look up the username and the password for the central authentication server to validate, and the web server virtual machine will act as a client. So to install CAS, we have series of installations. First, we have to install Tomcat, which I have already installed, uh, and it is running. So it's already running. Now we have to create a key store for the Tomcat to run in an SSL secured way. So we create a key store. So we create a key store through with this command. Give any password of your choice, and this make sure you remember this particular name. Give anything. So now I have created the key store. So you have to copy the key store that is created uh, to the Tomcat folder. So I have copied it to the Tomcat folder. Now we have to configure the server.xml to make sure that Tomcat runs on a secured way. So on a secured port. So on port 8443. So for that we have to edit the server.xml. So edit the server.xml and make sure that you enable the connector for SSL. So this is the connector for SSL port, so that the Tomcat runs on this port, and you have to give the key store. So we have the key store in the Tomcat's root folder. So and you have to give the password whichever you have given. So this is my password, and then you have to you have to install JSAG, download JSAG from the JSAG website. So I have already downloaded it and have already unzipped it. So there will be a WAR file uh, in this modules. So make sure that this modules is copied to the WAR web app folder. So in this we have the web app folder. The next thing is we have to restart the Tomcat. So I will restart the Tomcat. etc. The next thing what we have to do is we have to redirect all the traffic which is by default goes to port 4443 to 8443. So that's that is the port where Tomcat is running. So this is there. So I in the NAT tables pre-routing table, we have to anything that comes to the interface Ethernet 0 uh, to the port 443 is redirected to the port 884. So I have already uh, executed this command. So I've already executed this command. So now the configuration of uh, the CAS is done, and we have to now install the LDAP. Before LDAP installation, let's see like whether the CAS is successfully working or not. So for that, 192. So if you so it's working successfully. Now you have to install using install the open LDAP, open source LDAP, and the LDAP utilities to work. So I have already installed this in my machine. To make sure like you have to configure once you install it, you have to configure it accordingly. So this is the command uh, you have to configure. So for that you have to so if you give this command, it'll reconfigure it, and it'll ask for a series of questions. It you can we can choose choose as per our need. Then uh, uh, we can also create our own directory. So for that, I have created an entry. So this is the directory listing which I have created. So um, this has to be imported to the LDAP. To import it, make sure that the LDAP server is stopped, and then we have to use add hyphen L and entry.ldf. So if you give it'll be successfully uploaded in the LDAP server. Then you have to restart the LDAP server using services start. So now I have LDAP is running successfully. To make sure that all your entries are coming from the contents which you have given, the entry.ldif. So if you give this, so this is my entry which was there in the LDIF. So now we have successfully installed uh, installed LDAP server 2. Next task is to install a web server. So installing a web server involves installing Apache, MySQL, PHP. Uh, so we now see like I have already installed MySQL. So it is like MySQL and Apache. It's like services. Then I have installed MySQL also. So the next is to create. Next, we have to create a root password for the MySQL. So, creating root password. This is the command. It asks for the password. We can just give that. Uh, we can just give that. Then we have to install PHP. So install PHP. So I have already installed PHP. So to test the connectivity, whether the PHP is running or not in So I have created php.info. So this should be displayed in your browser. So I go to the browser and then give. host PHP. So the PHP is successfully installed in the machine. Then we have to check uh, the connectivity of the MySQL. So there is a file created for testing the connectivity. So this is the file. It opens the test the connectivity. So we'll test this also in the browser. So there is a successful connection to your MySQL too. So we have successfully installed PHP and MySQL in the Apache server. So the next is to make sure like we implement the central authentication server. So for that we have to install PHP curl, which will be helpful for PHP. This is nothing but CURL. It helps the PHP program to make HTTP request and response. So we have to install this. Then after installing this, we have to configure the etc. So I have configured the interface IP address of the CAS virtual machine. So uh, this is our CAS virtual machine. So this is our CAS virtual machine. So this virtual machine has an IP address of 192. So this is where our central authentication server lies. So we have to give that IP address over here, and this is the CN name which we use to create while creating the key for the Tomcat. So make sure this name is given, and for the purpose of implementing this central authentication server, we have created an index.php in and placed in the this root folder, in this web root folder. So this is the PHP uh, program. So here we have to make the connection to which interface or which IP address to connect for the central authentication server. We have to give this line and make sure that this is the host name that we have configured in the etc. So and then this is the code for making the central authentication. Once uh, this file is loaded, the force authentication make sure that it connects the CAS and then uh, uh, contacts these central authentication server where the user logins, and then uh, a ticket is created, and then it comes back to the program. So the force authentication with the ticket make sure that it does the validation. So we are going to check that. So for that, okay, we can just add this. So I have the same username and password I give, and I'm successfully logged in. So this is how the CAS works to complete.